Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video, a VR to Miss Mary Grace. I really like this tag. It was really about what tarot is to you overall, you know. I think it's even one of the first questions. So it's more really like going deeper into what tarot means instead of, well, showing a lot of decks, right? I like those too, but this one piqued my interest, so I wanted to respond. Because the first question, this is why I put two decks here, but yeah, the first question that she asked was, what is tarot to you? So tarot for me, let me flip a little bit through this one then. Tarot for me is an in-depth conversation with spirits. This is, I think, why I put the playing cards here. When I was young, I started with playing cards, and when I would compare the two, I think this was really like a more answering kind of way, in a sense of right now, so to speak. While tarot goes a little bit deeper, right? I found that when I use the tarot, when I have that conversation, I might get an answer, but I could also get 3 more extra questions, you know? So for me, the playing cards really were more of a faster answering system, to say it like that. And tarot for me, yeah, like I said, that really goes, well, a little bit deeper, you know? So yeah, what tarot is to me, yeah, it is my communication to spirits. It is, I think I always say this, it is my conversation to spirits, yeah? With spirit, you know, not to, but with spirit. I can go there for anything and everything, and yeah, this is the moment where maybe very religious people have prayer, right? For me, this is what tarot is. It's not a prayer, but it's a conversation. It's not like a one-sided thing, you know? While I ask questions, yeah, the cards answer me in that way. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Number 2 was, do you read for yourself and for others? Yes, and well, yes. I definitely read for myself, but yeah, I also read for others. It all started, of course, for myself, but yeah, over the years, I have definitely read a lot for other people. So yeah, that answers that question. Number 3, with what frequency do you read tarot for yourself? Okay, let me focus on one deck here. With what frequency do I read tarot for myself? On a daily basis. That can depend in how deep I go, but every morning with my cup of coffee, you know, like I said, I will have my conversation with spirit, right? Whether that is a straightforward question from my part, and sometimes I don't even have a question. I will shuffle my cards and I'm like, okay, you know, tell me what I need to know, right? And this is how a conversation gets started. So, but every day, there are, of course, times where I would read multiple times a day for different practices, and then again, that might vary, but at least every day, my morning conversation with spirit. Okay, number 4, what type of readings do you do? Well, I said it already. I have certain practices with, for example, Mary Magdalene, also with Sekhmet and Bastet. I do ancestor readings. What kind of readings do I do more? I'm thinking. I mean, there are multiple ones, yeah, whether they're really practice based or during the day I'm shuffling my cards and I'm just pulling a card, right? And like I said, this is how a conversation for me gets started. If I don't have a question, I'm pulling up one card. If that doesn't make sense, 9 out of 10 times when I don't have a question, I'm not really sure where that will go, you know, and this is how a conversation starts and multiple cards will be pulled. So yeah, there are different types of readings I do. Okay, number 5. Regarding what type of things do you consult tarot? Well, for everything. Really for everything. Like I said, even if I don't have a question, I do still feel the need to pull a card or 2 or 3, you know. So with everything, I cannot imagine some things that I would not turn to tarot for, you know. Everything is possible, so I go for any kind of thing to the tarot. For me, there are no restrictions there. Okay, number 6. How would you classify yourself as a reader? She meant, are you one that goes by the book meanings, or are you experimental, or figuratively, or literally? Okay, I always say I kind of read in a story way. So that means I'm not really into spreads too much. For me, it's about the story that is unfolding, you know? And book meanings, if it goes about, yeah, the standard meanings of the cards. So for me, that's layered, yeah? There is the standard meaning of a card, you know? And on top of that, I layer, yeah, depending, of course, on what question I ask, or if I didn't ask a question, then it has more to do, I think, that second layer with intuition, you know? So that figuratively or literally, again, that is, it depends on what kind of reading, it depends on what kind of question, but most of the time, like I said, that's a layering, right? We have the standard meaning, then the intuition comes in when it's concerned about, is it more literal or is it more figuratively, you know? So overall, like I said, I'm more of a story reader, yeah? I need to see the story in the cards. Okay, number 7. What types of questions do you ask tarot? Yeah, again, a little bit of everything. I go for everything to the tarot. I'm a root worker, you know, a hoodoo practitioner, so we do that for spell work, we do that in between spell work, we do that after spell work. I do it for my ancestors when I have a conversation with them. So what types of questions? Yeah, everything, really everything. I mean, I pulled it a couple of months ago, yeah, to see how my daughter did on her exams. She was so stressed, you know, so I asked the tarot the question, right? Should we be stressed or are we good? So any kind of thing. So number 8, what questions do you never ask tarot? Well, I really was thinking about this the moment Miss Mary Grace spoke that question. And I was like, I don't know, what would I not ask them? And then she talked about when I die. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, okay, I would not ask that too. So not to copy, but yes, that would not be a question I would ask. I think her response to it was beautiful, you know. There are certain mysteries in life, yeah, we are not supposed to know, you know. She kind of made me laugh. I think she gave an example of, yeah, we're also not going to ask when somebody's being born, right? So I totally agree in that sense, you know. That would not be a question I would ask, yeah. I think, yeah, when death is close to loved ones or even to you, you know, there will always be signs, right? But it would not be a question I would directly ask and then pull cards on. So I'm going to agree with her because there was nothing else that I could actually come up with that I would not ask the cards, you know. I saw in her response, she also talked about concerning other people, you know. What I would read for others, what would a question be that I would not ask the tarot? I think a little bit of the same, you know, when they would ask, yeah, about things like that, you know. Again, not to copy, but she made a point of, well, you can always redirect that question. And exactly, you know, whether that's a sensitive topic like this, but even sometimes, you know, don't get me wrong, when we read professionally, yeah, of course, that if that's a part of your income, yeah, that's great, and we love that income. But at the end of the day, this is also for me, yeah, this is what I've been told from my grandmother, yeah, if you have a gift, yeah, it is not to make money out of, yeah. Of course you can accept a donation, but it's more about helping other people. So there is no point if you know that the question isn't rightly well, formulated, yeah, for that person, because you know they're gonna come back in a week or in a few days, you know. I think it's important and ethical, you know, to, well, help formulate that question in the best possible way, right? So in that sense, it's not about I don't want to ask that. I just know that this is not the way to ask it to get the best information out of the cards. All right, that was enough about that, I think. Number 9. Who do you think you are engaging with or speaking with when you read tarot? Well, like I said, overall, spirit, and for me, spirit, yeah, is creator. I'm not a Christian, yeah, but I do believe in a creator. I believe in a God, yeah, whatever we want to name him, yeah, that is another thing. But I believe in a God. So like I said, this for me is a conversation with spirit instead of a prayer, which is very one-sided, right? We ask God or spirit something. For me, when I do the tarot, it's like having that conversation. I'm asking, he's answering, or she, he and she, they are answering, you know. So overall, spirit. However, if I do ancestor work, I'm definitely communicating with my ancestors. There is a practice I have that's ancestor work, but very specifically based on my grandmother. Yeah, she was my guiding light in life, and when she transitioned, that didn't change, you know. She was still my guiding light. She is just a different kind of guiding light. And in when I do that, I know I am speaking with her, you know. So I think these are the two main well, categories in that sense, right? Ancestors, yeah, and spirit in the sense of creator for me. I think this is who I am communicating with. I also think on some level, yeah, there is a higher consciousness. So we're also talking a little bit to ourselves. I mean, maybe you have experienced this. You ask a question, you're shuffling your deck, and before you pull the cards, yeah, you already know which card you should get because you already know the answer that should be given in that sense, right? I had it multiple times. I'm shuffling, and for example, I'm like, oh, the magician would actually be the perfect answer to this, right? So I'm already knowing the answer. Then I pull a card, and it's the magician. I know I've heard in some conversations, it's like, yeah, you're manifesting that card. Well, I don't believe that, yeah? Because again, if we're talking to our higher consciousness, yeah, we already know the answer. Sometimes our ego is in the way, I believe, yeah, of answering that question ourselves. Yeah, the moment it's in the cards, we can blame it on the cards, right? Like, well, that was not me, that was the cards. We know a lot of answers to these questions. Some we just cannot grasp. Others we can, and we refuse to, well, face until again the cards tell us, you know. So spirits, creator, ancestors, but I also believe a part of it is our higher selves, our higher consciousness, you know. Okay, next question. 10. What other knowledge, experience do you apply to tarot readings? Astrology, numerology, religion, mythology, all of that, you know. Elemental and numerology is a lot in my reading. Everything around this, yeah, is about, for me, the elements and numerology. She mentions also, I think, psychology, and I do that too. However, I do that more when I'm working with clients in that sense. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a psychologist, you know, but like I said, sometimes somebody can come to you with a question, yeah, and when you let them talk, yeah, when you let them when you give them a moment, you know, to say what's really in their hearts and on their minds, we find out that that's not really the question they want to ask, you know. And I think here comes a little bit psychology in there, you know, by listening to your client, yeah, not just assuming. I mean, sometimes people are very closed off. Other times, like I said, when they want to talk, I always feel it's my responsibility to listen. I might not have a degree, but I have a lot of life experience, yeah. I've seen a lot in my life. So even if a situation isn't the same, the emotion is the same. I cannot tell every client I see, oh, I know what you're going through, because I haven't been to that situation. But when a client is depressed, when a client is sad, when a client is doubting, these are emotions we all have faced in any other kind of form, you know. So while the experience might be different, I think the emotions, yeah, are the same. And in this sense, yeah, I think we as human beings, we can relate to each other. And yeah, like I said, in that sense, yeah, psychology definitely comes in. A little bit less of astrology. Especially in the toes, I try to give those meanings. Yeah, Venus and which one is it? I'm sorry. Wait, I cannot still see it. Which one is this again? Here, I'm really bad. I think it's Pisces, right? I don't even know. I think it's Pisces. Yeah. I try to give or bring in like this general energy around the planet Venus in this sense, and the sign of Pisces, you know. What are these energies and how can they relate to this card? But I don't always do that. Yeah, if I have a quicker reading, this is not my standard. However, again, when it comes to numerology, elemental, you know, these are always present. And while I said psychology comes more in play with a client, I do have that mirror in front of me, right? When I read, because otherwise, what's the point of reading if you don't want to face the truth? At least that's my opinion. Okay, number 11. Tarot is the book of life. Where else in your world, sorry, yeah, I wrote very badly. Where else in your world or life do you witness tarot? I found this a very hard question because I never really thought about that in that way. I think because I'm very, very tapped into the elemental energies and the numerology energies, yeah. Here I can see it, yeah. I can see numbers in my daily life and I will add them, divide them or whatever, and I always come to that single number and feel like, what does that mean to me? And I can do that just by a stop sign or whatever, you know, or a bigger sign in a poster, right? And there are numbers on it. And when it comes to elements, yeah, like I said, that is definitely something I tap into. I live in Europe, so that means I do have all the seasons, yeah, for good or bad, but I do have all the seasons, which I love, in all honesty. As my practice has shown, as I've shown a lot on my channel, I'm really tapped into my African spirituality, and the only part, yeah, that I think I would miss from Europe is that part, you know, really having those seasons, yeah. I love to know, yeah, when winter is coming, right? When, oh my god, now I sounded like Game of Thrones. Or when summer is coming, or, you know, when spring is coming in after the winter, right? I love those energies. I love seeing the seasons change. I love in my neighborhood knowing exactly, you know, when the chestnuts fall. It will be now any day, maximum a month. Yeah, we got a big chestnut tree here, and over time I learned it's learned its timing, right? When it's gonna release its nuts. And I love knowing and expecting these things. But yeah, if that's really tarot related, like I said, I found it a very hard question. But we're gonna leave it at that answer. Okay, number 12. Have you experienced where tarot has correctly predicted the future? And how did you feel when it came to pass? Oh yes, absolutely, every time, yeah. Especially when it comes to the bigger questions of life, right? For me, that is very predictive. But it can just as be predictive, yeah, like I said, when in the morning I pick a card, yeah, when I, for example, don't have a question, and for me then Spirit is, well, giving me the lay of the land for that day. Yeah, at the end of the day I'm like, aha, that's what you meant, I should have paid more attention, you know. So if I don't really pay enough attention to it, how do I feel? It's like, well, I should have paid attention. It's a little bit like Spirit telling me, well, I told you so. When I do pay attention, like I said, it's a relief. Looking back and seeing, oh, I'm glad I paid attention, you know, because that situation could have turned out very differently if I wasn't prepared. So yeah, definitely it can predict the future, and again, depending on how good of a listener I am that day, it will depend on how I feel about that. But overall, it's an awesome thing, right? I mean, the cards already letting you know, or whether that's the cards or Spirit or again your higher consciousness, right? It's an awesome thing. It's definitely a great thing. Okay, the last question, number 13. If you are a witch or magical practitioner, how does tarot fit in your magical practice? Well, I don't consider myself a witch, but I am a root worker, you know. I practice magic in that sense. Again, not the biggest fan of that word, because for me everything is magic. The seasons changing, yeah, is magic, you know. But yeah, how does that fit in my practice? Well, I think I just mentioned it. In any kind of conjure or magic spell or whatever you want to call that, right? There is divination in there. Like I said, before I begin, I need to see if I have the green light, right? And here again, psychology plays a part, because sometimes when we want to do something, we need to understand the difference between our ego and it being truly justified, right? We can have a bad day and everything will rub us the wrong way. Are we then still justified to do that? Or am I just too sensitive in that moment because I feel like I deserve more than I was getting, you know? So before even when we think about doing a working, there's divination. Then when we start to do the working, before that working is actually done, we do divination about it. When the working is busy, depending if it's a bigger working, smaller working. If it's a smaller working, there will be divination in the middle. If it's a longer one, there will be multiple divinations going on in between, you know. At the end of the working, there will be divination. So everything about my magical practice in that sense, yeah, revolves around divination. Nothing will be done yet without divination. So it's definitely the vocal, the center, the foundation, right, of my practice. So yes, it plays a huge role in my practice. I could not do without it. And the fun part is, because, well, I showed most of the toes, right? When I started, I was very young, and then it was all done, yeah, with playing cards. And yeah, I picked now my favorite deck. This is Voodoo playing cards. Really love this deck. I love the dark aesthetics, you know, and it has some V's in it, only on the 4s, but still. But yeah, we did that with a simple thing as playing cards, which gave us everything we needed to know. Yeah, here, yeah, we have Ogun, yeah, which was giving us the go around already, right, for magical practices. And even though I will tap into my tarot for magical practices, I also still tap into my playing cards, yeah, before I do it. So yes, they're always present, the cards, yeah, and yeah, it's just very ingrained. But again, I think that was the last question, right? Yeah, that was the last question. I'm checking my notes here. But yeah, I really enjoyed this tag. For everybody who doesn't know Mary Grace, her channel, I will link it below with the original video. Because again, don't get me wrong, I love to watch other hashtags as well, you know, where we show off our decks. Yeah, it's all fun. But this one I found really fun because, well, a little bit back to the basics, right? It's really about tarot. Even though now I'm showing playing cards. But okay. Yeah, that was it. I want to thank Miss Mary Grace for this fabulous tag. I really enjoyed doing it. And I want to thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all again soon. Stay blessed. Have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.